My husband demands splitting expenses 50/50, even though he earns much more than me. Hello everyone, I'm 29 and my husband is 30. We've been together for 9 years and got married when I was 26. When we moved in together, I was 25 and we split the rent equally. I was earning $65K a year and he was earning $80K. We live in a large city in the US. Splitting the rent 50/50 for a place costing $2,600 a month was fair since our incomes were comparable. However, over time, everything changed. A few months after the wedding, I got pregnant. We were very happy about it and wanted the baby. I didn't want to quit working entirely, but I wanted to be home with the child, so I found a full-time remote job in my field. The downside was that my salary dropped from $65K to $50K. We continued to split the rent equally. Between the ages of 26 and 30, my husband received several promotions and changed jobs. Now he is a senior business analyst and earns approximately $195K a year. Since we had a child, we needed a larger apartment. We found a 3-bedroom for $4,000 a month. Despite my objections and despite the fact that I wanted to try and find something smaller and cheaper, he still insisted on an equal split of the rent. In the end, I essentially let myself be talked into it because he is indeed very persuasive, and I love him. 2.5 years have passed, and the rent has increased to $4,400. My net income after taxes is about $3,600 a month, and I pay $2,200 a month for rent. On top of that, I care for our child, do all the housework, and cook every day. My husband works from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., but usually doesn't get home until 7 p.m. I am completely burned out. I barely have enough money to do anything for myself. I feel like I am financially surviving, while my husband lives a life of luxury. Yes, he takes me on dates and vacations, but he doesn't seem to understand that this isn't enough for me. 2 days ago, I had a very serious talk with him and suggested we try splitting the rent proportionally to our incomes, so that we pay the same percentage of our earnings rather than just half. His reaction stunned me. He asked why having $1,600 a month for expenses wasn't enough for me. I told him I'm not saving anything at all. He replied that I should spend less on entertainment, which made me laugh because, what entertainment? All I do is work, cook, clean, buy everything for the house, and raise our child. I told him that I am effectively working 2 full-time jobs at once and I need help. Then he asked if I was suggesting he should pay me for being a mother, and that just threw me off. I really had nothing to say to that. In short, he said this is the lifestyle we agreed upon when we moved in together years ago. So, he doesn't seem to understand me, or rather, he doesn't want to. Now he's angry at me because he thinks I'm being selfish, and has been acting cold for the past few days. I feel the urge to apologize and take my words back, as I always do, but I truly feel that I am right this time. Update 1. Thank you everyone for the responses. To be honest, I completely did not expect such a reaction. I am truly overwhelmed and cannot reply to everyone, especially while I'm at work, but I wanted to add a bit more to the situation. I love my husband with all my heart, and it hurts so much to read the comments and realize I'm being used. I need to figure out how to approach this issue correctly and resolve it before things go too far. I want to fix everything, but the fear of being alone is very strong. Yes, I signed a prenuptial agreement that was overseen by his family's lawyer. My husband comes from an extremely wealthy family, and I was young and stupid and agreed. Headed over heels in love, as my mother always said. As for his family, we have a great relationship and they love me. It's very confusing because they are incredibly generous people and a real family. They don't know about our financial situation because my husband and I believe our marriage is our private business. And I felt like I was betraying him if I told them about it. For those writing about the dates and trips he pays for, I have asked him many times to help reduce my financial burden instead of these trips and dates, but he refused. He said he can do whatever he wants with his money, and if he wants to take us on vacation, that's exactly what he's going to pay for. If I could afford a vacation, I would pay. Furthermore, when we had a more equal financial standing, before we were married and had kids, I paid for almost all of our trips and dates because I like making people happy. Now, I can no longer afford that. I also don't have a spending problem. After graduation, I paid off my student loans in 2 years. By the time of the wedding, I had saved $60,000, and all that money is in my retirement savings. For which I am grateful, because now I can no longer contribute there. This has nothing to do with how I spend money. In fact, I am quite frugal with my purchases, especially because I try to stay within my budget. Update 2. I sincerely apologize for taking so long to post an update. A lot has happened since then. For those who aren't aware, this post was written at the end of February 2020, and then the world, accordingly, fell apart. At the time the post was written, things were very bad between my husband and me. I want to clarify right away, we are still together, and since then we've had another child, but this time in a much healthier environment. The pandemic changed a lot for me, as did the popularity of that post. Neither my husband nor I were fired or furloughed, for which we are very grateful, but my husband moved to remote work. The change in perspective affected him deeply when he saw what I have to deal with every day, the things I could never properly convey with words. How difficult it is to work and raise a child simultaneously, and the contribution I make that he simply didn't see before. Despite his new understanding and appreciation, I still continued to feel resentment. In June, I finally suggested we go to marriage therapy after I had been doing online therapy myself since March, during which I realized why I let people walk all over me and how to handle it. To my surprise, my husband agreed, and since then, we have been going to therapy once a week. This helped him get to the roots of his fears and understand why it's hard for him to trust me in financial matters. It wasn't just about me, but about how he was raised and what was instilled in him. After I told him bluntly that I didn't want to continue building a family and a life with a person who just watches me survive while they bathe in luxury, my husband agreed to change our lifestyle and make it more equitable. I'm not saying everything has become or is becoming magically perfect. I know many were waiting for an update where I dump my evil husband and leave with the child to start a new life. But I married this person for a reason. I saw the good in him. And after the struggle we had to go through, he became the man I married. Now we have a joint bank account, as well as separate personal accounts. We each contribute 2/3 of our income to the joint account and keep 1/3 for ourselves. I have a new job now, earning significantly more than at the time of the original post. It doesn't affect our relationship, but just to be clear, my 1/3 is enough for me to live and enjoy life. It is still a road to recovery, but there is more trust between us and we no longer live by the 50/50th scheme. Thank you all for the support and advice.